She threw it, Ethan. She threw the boiling water. That's what my wife managed to get out, her voice breaking from the porch, while I caught my daughter Sophie mid-scream, her arm flaming red in the sun, and standing right there, smirking like she'd just conquered the whole world, was Cynthia Grover, vice president of the Willow Bend Estates HOA, waving that clipboard like she was Moses on Mount Sinai. "You people never listen," she said, lifting her chin. "That rose bush is an unauthorized modification. No personal landscaping within 10 feet of the walkway." Not a flinch in her voice. Not an ounce of empathy for my 10-year-old's skin, literally blistering in front of her. I stepped forward, chest wound tight as piano wire. "You just assaulted a child, Cynthia." Her lips barely twitched. "Then file your complaint. The board will review it." She had no idea. "See, I built this place. Every inch of sidewalk, every storm drain. I know where private property starts and ends, right down to the inch. That rose bush? It's on my deed. Concrete anchored, and not 1 inch of it was hers to claim. But if you've ever seen someone so addicted to their own power that they forget consequences, buckle up, because by the end of this story, you'll see how fast their little empires burn. My name's Ethan Rowe, structural engineer by trade, neighborhood builder by mistake. I built Willow Bend to hold families, not break them. And the woman who burned my daughter? She wasn't just a neighbor gone sour. She was a bureaucrat with a clipboard and a personal score to settle, hiding behind HOA bylaws she barely understood. She'd been circling us for weeks. But this time, this was different. That rose bush was the last thing Sophie planted with her grandma before she passed last winter. Every morning, my daughter watered it, talking like grandma was still out there listening. It was our small act of defiance in a place that punished you for standing out. Cynthia wanted it gone, called it an eyesore, fined us twice for it. Then for a wind chime, she said ruined sound harmony. I played nice, fixed the driveway, followed their rules. But today she crossed the line, right under the camera poles, in plain sight. Sophie's whimpers cut through the air. Cynthia scribbled notes. No apology, just another threat. "You'll receive a notice. Next time, maintenance removes it personally." Lauren, my wife, was frozen in the doorway. Except she's not just my wife. She's a property law attorney, and her silence meant calculation, not fear. "You're on camera," I said. "And you just trespassed during an unscheduled inspection. That makes the HOA legally responsible, not just you." Cynthia's pen hesitated. "You wouldn't dare drag the board into this." I looked her dead in the eye. "You already did. You threw boiling water at a child." Lauren started snapping photos, timestamping everything. She knew these people, how they deflect and delay. We weren't just homeowners anymore. We were plaintiffs, waiting for the paperwork. By the time the ambulance painted our white picket street red and blue, neighbors peeked through blinds. Some filmed. Most pretended not to see. And I realized, this wasn't just about us. People in Willow Bend obeyed because they couldn't afford to fight. But I could. When Lauren left for the hospital, I stayed behind. Cynthia stood there, clutching her clipboard to her chest, looking smaller now. "You should have kept quiet, Ethan." I glanced at the rose bush. "Quiet is how you get away with this." For a split second, she actually flinched. I walked back inside, blood boiling hotter than her tea, already knowing. This was going to court, not committee. Lauren found the first crack in Cynthia's armor a week later, a payment trail she thought no one would find. The HOA tried to bury everything. Cynthia filed a counter-complaint, claimed she tripped and spilled the water, said I was aggressive. The official notice was bloodless as always. No witnesses present, except there were cameras, and 3 neighbors had watched from their porches. None came forward. That's when it hit me. Fear wasn't a bug in this place. It was the whole system. Lauren leaned back, tapping her pen. "They've also added daily fines for blocking maintenance. She's testing if we'll fold." "We won't," I said. The next morning, I walked into the old clubhouse, where the board sat behind a long table, Cynthia dead center. "Mr. Rowe," she purred. "Unfortunately, your conduct last week," I cut her off, "was self-defense after you assaulted my child." A couple board members shifted. "We're here to maintain civility," the president mumbled. Cynthia's smile was razor thin. "Your wife's filing has no merit. The HOA has full indemnity. If you persist, you'll violate member defamation." I didn't blink. Just slid a stamped survey across the table. That rose bush, 18 inches inside my deeded lot. Not on common ground. And I filed the plans myself. I built your drainage, Cynthia. You fined me illegally. The president frowned. Cynthia stared, brittle. You can appeal through proper channels. We will, I said, court channels. Outside, sunlight hit the HOA office sign, preserving our standards. I almost laughed. Standards. That's what they called it. Back home, Lauren was already drafting letters, collecting medical docs, injury photos, even our insurance denial for the state. You were right, she said. Cynthia's listed as alternate contact for claims. That's illegal. How illegal? Enough the insurance could pull coverage. The first real crack in her wall. That evening, Graham Lowe, the HOA treasurer, walked by with his dog, eyes lingering on our house. He nodded, silent apology hanging in the air. They scheduled an emergency board session, Lauren said. About us. Let them talk, I replied. The more they put in writing, the better. I wasn't angry anymore, just focused. Anger burns out. Pressure doesn't. By the next dawn, our kitchen wall was covered in violation bylaws and spreadsheets. Cynthia's name circled in red. That night's HOA meeting was thick with tension. Cynthia opened, voice booming. This is to address false claims and inflammatory behavior. She didn't name me. She didn't have to. Lauren recorded quietly. Graham fidgeted, sweat darkening his collar. When Cynthia announced, Mr. Rowe's accusations have been found inconsistent with multiple accounts, I stepped up. Accounts written by people you pay. Gasps. Cynthia's jaw twitched. Mr. Rowe, this isn't your platform. No, I said, it's yours. And it's collapsing. Lauren's signal told me to hold back. Sometimes, silence says more than shouting. Cynthia tried to pivot, accused Lauren of abusing procedure for filing insurance review. Lauren shut that down. Filed legally, since your VP listed herself as an insured party. That's misuse of community funds. Murmurs rippled. Cynthia called on Graham for backup. His hands shook, pen dropping to the floor. All expenses were authorized. He croaked, but his body betrayed him. Lauren slid a spreadsheet to the table. This $4,800 retainer matches the day your VP hired her private counsel. Coincidence? Graham stared at the numbers. I wasn't informed of this transaction. Cynthia snapped. That's enough, Graham. But it was too late. The crack had spread. Word spread fast. Neighborhood group chat exploded, half defending Cynthia, half demanding answers. The HOA scrambled to bring in an outside accountant for a late-night audit review. I spent the day pulling city permits and HOA plans. Lauren called, no county approvals on the drainage work Cynthia signed off on. That was our lever. At the audit, under the park pavilion, we laid out county records, pointing out the unauthorized construction. That's not maintenance, Cynthia. That's a structural modification on public easement. I built that system, and you forged the approval. The accountant's face said it all. Rain poured harder as the meeting ended. Cynthia's empire was slipping. The next morning, city inspectors showed up. The new drainage lines, Cynthia's pet project, were flooding. Wrong grade slope. No permit, one muttered. Cynthia tried to bluff, but when the inspector recognized my name, it was game over. Lauren read from the bylaws. Liability extends to officers acting outside scope. That means you, Cynthia. By evening, city records triggered a compliance review and automatic insurance audit. Cynthia's safety net vanished overnight. That night, Graham knocked on our door, soaked in guilt and rain. She told me to delete the reserve account logs. I couldn't, but she's blaming me for the audit. Lauren told him. Testify, and the liability shifts. He handed over a damp sheet. Direct transfer to Cynthia's account. I couldn't pretend anymore, he said. Not after what she did to your daughter. It was all we needed. Lauren filed everything. State insurance opened a fraud investigation. Cynthia left a venomous voicemail, blaming us for destroying the community. By now, she was panicking, but the dam had burst. When the insurance investigator called Graham for a statement, he finally agreed. By the time the audit wrapped, HOA funds were frozen. Cynthia was outed for siphoning $72,000 into her LLC, and police were waiting outside the clubhouse. Neighbors gathered as Cynthia packed her things, the woman who fined us for mailbox colors now emptying her house under county order. Lauren whispered, "That's restitution." Cynthia stared at us. "You did this." "No," I told her. "You did this when you stopped caring about people." She had nothing left. Just silence. The neighborhood changed after that. The clubhouse sign came down, replaced by Community Open Forum. Volunteers painted over the past, new bylaws were ratified in public, and for the first time in years, kids ran without being shushed. Order didn't disappear, it got reclaimed by compassion. At the first open election, Lauren was voted in. "This isn't about lawns or fences," she said. "It's about people. Remember that, and this place stays alive." So if you've ever been crushed by someone hiding behind a title, don't wait for them to hand you power, take it back. And if you've got a story about justice, or about someone who forgot that rules are supposed to protect, not punish, drop it in the comments below. Where do you stand when it comes to justice versus order? Let's hear it.